Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we have basically did manage to finish up everything for the sake of the Forms of Sun-Baked Desert by experiencing some more levels. In addition to that, we also managed to beat Bowser Jr. for the third time, and as a result, we did somehow restore some water afterwards, and in addition to that, we also did manage to able to collect the last few Wonder Seeds in Journey forms of the entire world, including buddy forms of this particular popular shop. As you can tell, not only do we have to buy one, but 3 Wonder Seeds on that specific shop. So, yeah, that does seem quite a lot, especially that we have to spend about, let's just say, 350 flower coins, as far as I'm aware, for able to brought, you know, 3 Wonder Seeds, or buy 3 Wonder Seeds, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, today for this video, as you can tell, we are now going to be able to go into the 5th world, known as Fungi Mines. And right from the get-go, though, is about the fact that, just like the other worlds, we need to once again pop over to a Poplin house, but instead, that, as you can tell, we actually come across into a note, which as a result, I'm pretty sure that specific Poplin is actually busy doing something. So as a result, maybe we can probably start able to explore in the underground portion of the Forms of Fungi Mines, because as far as I'm aware, this world, much like the forms of how it does it on Shining Falls, this world does not contain any palaces. So because of that, well, it wasn't until whenever we get to World 6, on the other hand, which that particular topic can wait until specifically probably until on Friday or something like that. So, as a result though, it's about the fact that, much like before, we will get ourselves our Wonder Seed. So in some cases, this time around though, as you can tell, we've now come across into a green Wonder Seed, which by that time, once we make our way towards the end of this specific world, then we can obviously guarantee to able to actually just to get ourselves a green Whirl Seed until at the very end of this world. So, yeah, nothing else to say about this, I guess. So, but anyways, before we get on some progression for the sake of the forms of this world, is that once again we do need to talk to the forms of one of those Poplins, as you can tell, and just to ensure, no matter what though, we still need to able to actually force them to pay some flower coins. So, for instance, we need to pay for about 10 flower coins, as you can tell, in order to able to actually build up the bridge, and that way we should able to get the world started for reals. So, that's to be expected is about the fact that we're able to gather some more Wonder Seeds, and of course, some more 10 flower coins, as to be expected. So, I can't even believe by saying this is about the fact that we've almost finishing up the entire game already. Well, mind you, there's still some more things to come in one hand, but then again, that particular topic can wait. So, because of that, and as you can tell, we've actually got ourselves our free badge, as you can tell, but I'm not exactly sure what that badge is supposed to be. My guess has to be by the forms of a sensor badge, where basically this functions kind of like the forms of the you know what the forms of the both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild alongside with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, right? That basically though is about the fact that we can able to actually expect to have a sensor, which I'll explain more now in a moment. So here we go into Upshroom, Downshroom. And as you can tell, we're going to be selecting Yoshi, specifically Green Yoshi on this stage to begin with, just to ensure no matter what though is about the fact that we can able to guarantee to able to use him for pretty much able to actually access to everything basically, except power-ups of course. So, but as you can tell already is about the fact that I have some great news to tell you, is that, well, recently, ever since yesterday, we are feeling much, much better now. Especially, no matter what though, to make matters even much more better than that, is that, thank goodness, we've now got COVID negative now. So because of that, I'm very happy about this, especially concerning for the fact that, well, I'm still not exactly fully 100% better. Well, it's getting a bit better though. The only time I do need to get a little bit improvement upon is the fact that sometimes my nose feels a bit too runny sometimes. And of course, I do need to fetch some more tissues sometimes, especially concerning for the fact that still the temperature still looks really chilly cold. But regardless of everything else though, is about the fact that at least it's already getting there. So, anyways, a few things I want to explain for this point today is that, well, today's date is of course the OSD 24th of January today, in some cases in 2024 today, and it looks like we've only just got about 8 more days to go until we're going to be approaching on to February, the second month of 2024. And exponentially speaking, though, it's about the fact that we were expecting that maybe possibility is like, you know, the next Nintendo Direct will be up. Well, to be more specifically, the first ever Nintendo Direct in 2024 will be on its way until likely 2 weeks time, because I'm pretty certain for the fact that I don't think it's possible we can able to get the Nintendo Direct presentation for the sake of this month in January, much like the forms of how it does it in 2019, 2021, as well as 2022 and 2023. Although, some people might tend to say about the fact that it might be nowhere near as, like, exciting compared to the forms of how it does on the past years, but then again, we shall see what happens, especially concerning for the fact that I'm pretty sure the reason why they did somehow speculate it is probably because, well, it looks like for the majority of the forms of some Nintendo Switch games nowadays, specifically when it gets towards the end of its lifespan, I'm pretty sure most of these announcements are most likely going to be focusing on remasters, ports, and everything else, and even some small titles here and there, which as a result, I'm pretty sure that Nintendo Switch is basically done for massive AAA games. So, as a result, no matter what though, I'm pretty certain about the fact that maybe if it's a possibility, that we can probably able to expect to get one more Mario Party game to be released on the Switch before we move on to the next Nintendo system, or perhaps even maybe they'll able to actually bring a Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Paris 2024 or something like that. Well, time will tell though, especially concerning for the fact that, well, we actually got ourselves some tons of news we're like able to discuss upon, because I was originally trying to able to explain about something else for this point, but even then though, I suppose we should probably wait on that specific topic if we continue proceedings for the sake of the forms of Fungi Mines. So, there we go. So we did somehow manage to complete everything on upstream and downstream. And by the way, I love that specific detail if you managed able to stumble across into a Wonder Flower, where basically we stumbled across into this familiar jack-o'-lantern design based off from Super Mario Galaxy, except now on a 2D perspective. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So anyways, and as you can tell, much like the forms of how it does it on Sun-Baked Desert, is that as you can see, some levels have been covered by the forms of some smoky clouds. So, and when you go near to one of those smoky clouds, then you would be able to actually jump right into some levels. So, anyways, here we go to the next level right here, and as you can see, we've now switched over to Red Yoshi, just in case, you know, different variety. Although sometimes it can be felt a bit too easy when it comes to like using Yoshis, as far as we've already established that before. But anyway though, yeah, no matter what though, as you can see, that we have to watch out for those little weird stuff, as you can see. So, yeah, that's as far as we can able to try to deal with in this level. So, anyways, something's worth noting for, in regards to the forms of what is going on at this point, is that recently, for what I've heard, that Mortal Kombat 2 has done or wrapped up filming. So because of that though, we're not exactly sure when does that film is going to be releasing exactly, because despite the fact that that film has already been delayed after that particular, you know what I mean, the writer's strike alongside with the actor's strike, so hopefully we should able to get ourselves some more information about the films of Mortal Kombat 2 as a movie itself. Although I'm sure enough though about the fact that it might be a massive step up compared to the films of how it does on this previous terrible sequel, which as a result, for those of you who don't know, that back in the 90s, that basically though, not only do we got one, but 2 Mortal Kombat movies back in the 90s. One of them in 1995, and one of them in 1997. Like, for instance, in 1995, they saw the release of the original Mortal Kombat movie, and in Journey Forms within 1997, they've got the sequel called, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which, as a result, yeah, it is really, really terrible for that particular sequel, for what I've heard anyway. Because no matter what, though, is about the fact that, for what I've seen some footage, that the opening title sequence, it's basically the exact same opening as the first one, except, no matter what, though, the only major change to that is they have to CGI a new title, and that's pretty much about it. So anyway, so let's get that Wonder Flower, and it looks like we stumbled across into a power block, and we've met again with a Cosmic Clone, ever since in somewhere in Sunbaked Castle, or Sunbaked Desert. So because of that, yeah, no matter what though, is about the fact that I believe this time around though, we do need to collect all of those Wonder Tokens, so just in case the Wonder Seeds will show up. So, but again, I do apologize for my commentary, it's a little bit slightly iffy sometimes, mainly because sometimes though my throat isn't exactly too clear just yet though. Well, that's just mainly because, again, it might take a bit of some time. Well, still, no matter what though, I'm feeling a lot more better than the forms of how it does it since about last Friday or something like that, at least as far as I've noticing this right from the start though. But anyway, so yeah, you can able to actually activate that massive power block, so you can able to actually activate certain blocks. So, and that way, once you're able to collect all 5 of those Wonder Tokens, then the Wonder Seeds will become yours to claim. So, and I believe, fundamentally speaking though, I think it wasn't until when it gets to the point until maybe the 6th world, if I was assuming so anyway, that we might able to come across into, possibly, the final secret exit in the entire game, which I know we've already cut to the chase for this point, but I suppose that particular topic can wait, especially concerning for the fact that, well, as we've mentioned about this before, is that I kind of believe we're getting very, very close towards the end of this. Well, almost exactly, despite the fact that the actual progression on uploading schedules is a tad bit slower, just because, like we've already established this before, that we've somehow managed able to get ourselves COVID positive back in about a week ago, that both me, Sonic and Knuckles have already stumbled across into that ever since about a week ago. But anyway, Tumble House in break time segment, and I believe something tells me as soon as you activate that switch, once again the Wonder Tokens have been appeared, and now we need to able to collect them all while the actual room keeps on shifting. So because of that though, well, assuming if you try to use Yoshi, it'll make the entire stage a total cakewalk, mainly because of his flutter jump, and on top of that you can able to perform certain wall jumps and stuff like that. But apart from that though, this stage is too easy. So because of that though, yeah, nothing else to say about it. Now, for what I've also heard about something is about the fact that apparently though, do you guys even know about the fact that one of those films in 2024 is almost approaching, and that film will have to be by the forms of Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie? Well, as it turns out, that basically that film has been leaked online, even though it is currently blocked right now, mainly because despite the fact that the film wasn't exactly released yet. So no matter what though, I just thought it was a little bit odd to able to actually let that film got leaked early on throughout the year. Well, exponentially speaking though, because of how the fact that, well, I just have nothing else to say about the fact that why that film just got leaked, and as a result, it did eventually get blocked by, let's just say, by Paramount and Viacom on X. So yeah, no matter what though, despite I still have not seen it though, which there's a good reason why I somehow ignored that film for now, because despite the fact that that film didn't exactly get released just yet, because no matter what though, it doesn't seem able to confirm the release date for it, although it's still expected to be releasing in this year, sometime in this year though, but we just don't know exactly when exactly. But it wasn't until on the 4th SpongeBob movie is going to be releasing until 2025, so anyway, so here's a pretty cool wonder effect right here. It is time for a quiz. So basically though, in this particular wonder effect, as you can tell, we need to answer 3 correct answers, because otherwise though, if you get one question wrong, I believe you'll move on to the next one, Although, keep this in mind though, you have to worry about the time limit, so you have to be fast on it, so... But, obviously, we've already know about certain questions for sure, because we've already experienced this, especially concerning for the fact that, well, as you can tell, who is Bowser's son, and that's obviously Bowser Jr., because, you know, Bowser Jr. has first appeared in Super Mario Sunshine, so, as to be expected. But hey, at least we still got ourselves our Wonder Seed, at the very least, so that should be all pretty swell. And something's worth noting for is that if you dare touch this weird stuff down there, you also die instantly, just like the lava, and especially noticeable with the poison pond. So, that's something is worth noting for those of you who might be familiar with, in regards to the forms of playing 2D Mario games throughout the years, since in 1985. So, you probably get the idea of what I was expecting to try to say for this point right there, so... And I believe with that particular pipe down there, could be a little bit more familiar to try to able to lead me something into. Like, for instance, it just somehow takes me into that another 10 flower coin right there. And obviously we need to be careful down there, because in a bottomless pit down there, it just sends you to death. So, good thing we did somehow manage able to time my jumps correctly, so just in case we can able to be super safe and stuff like that. Now I'm pretty sure this level does not contain a secret exit, I don't think, so... Anyway, there's also another thing I want to mention about this as well, is that recently we've actually got ourselves the actual confirmation for the sake of the actual brand new updates recently, in regards to the forms of not only in Sonic Dash, but also with Sonic Forces Speed Battle. Like, so far, it looks like until specifically, I would say until next week, we're about to be getting not one, but 2 cosmetic characters, which as a result, one of them for Sonic, and one of them from Tails. And it could be something more related to the forms of Chinese culture, which as a result for this year in particular, in 2024, it will be the Year of the Dragon. So because of that though, yeah, because the last time we actually did technically have the Year of the Dragon was technically in 2000, in the Millennium, as well as 2012, and any other years in the past. But even then though, I'm pretty excited to be able to actually celebrate the Year of the Dragon for Chinese New Year. For this year in particular, because no matter what though, for those of you who probably already know about this, ever since if you are a massive Spyro the Dragon fan, you already know about the fact that the third and the final trilogy when it comes to Spyro the Dragon game series, that's basically on the PlayStation that is, basically one of the games is actually called Spyro Year of the Dragon, because that game came out in 2000, so it makes sense to able to call that game a title of Spyro Year of the Dragon. So, which I'm not exactly sure why that the Japanese version seemed able to ignore that release, which I'm not exactly sure why. I'm guessing it's because of the actual massive criticism of the Japanese version of the original Spyro 1. So, probably because of the forms of technical issues, like some very awkward camera angles, as well as the forms of how the fact that, well, it's hard to explain really, because I'm pretty much more accustomed to the forms of the English version, because I can see why that the English version is likely considered to be the most popular version, just because it plays really well, at least specifically on the PlayStation version. So, anyways, let's go into an enchanted area, Wopa Ruins. So something tells me we're about to be going for that little goopy slimes, which, as a result, it is pretty interesting, so because of that, and I believe something tells me one of those wonder effects coming up, I believe we're gonna have to come across into yet another transformation for those wonder effects, so... But even then though, I think that might actually get a better solution of what's to come, so... Anyways though, I was originally trying to say that maybe I was expecting to try to able to complete this entire world, because it was expecting to be also super duper short, but unfortunately though, that's not the case for the sake of the forms of this run. Mainly because of, you know, trying to go after several things, and maybe if it's a possibility because of how the fact that despite it's been quite a few days since I've last played this, since I actually kind of think about it, it's been about 2 days ago since I finally going back into this game after the events of you know what. So I believe we do need those smashers to able to break through those blocks to able to get that 10 flower coin down there. So, no matter what, though, is about the fact that, there's also another thing I want to classify for mentioning about this as well. Oh yeah, back into that specific topic about the forms of something related to not only Sonic Dash, but also with Sonic Force's Speed Battle. As a result, one of those characters in particular is that Sonic is actually getting yet another cosmetic character, or cosmetic, costume, and as a result, it is gonna be Dragon Fire Sonic. So, pretty cool though, and I will say is that the actual cosmetic characters look super duper awesome, and because of that, also in addition to that, as I said before, that Tails is also getting a cosmetic character, or a cosmetic costume, and as a result, it appears to be Dragon Claw Tails. So, yeah, both of which are dragon related, because get it? Because this year will marks the year of the dragon, obviously, so it makes sense to able to actually get our dragon costume alterations between both Sonic and Tails. So, which I will try my best to able to actually get them to if I decide to go back onto Sonic Dash until specifically next week or something like that. Well, possibilities can't tell, especially concerning for the fact that it's been about a couple of days since I actually have last played Sonic Dash, because the last time I actually played Sonic Dash is when I was trying to unlock Thorn Rose based off from Sonic Prime, because that was the time when the third and final season of Sonic Prime did somehow premiered on Netflix. So, yeah, pretty interesting stuff here and there. So, yeah, I guess that's that. Oh, jeez, we almost gonna get crushed by this little smasher right here. So, as you can tell, the Wonder Effect, as you can tell, we actually turn into a Whopper gooey monster thingy right there. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting that you can able to scale up on the forms of not only walls, but also with the forms of certain ceilings, and dang it, I just got crushed. Oh well, no big deal. Besides, we already got the checkpoint earlier on, and thus we've still pretty much gotten the 10 flower coin for sure. So because of that, yeah, let's just go ahead and try this again, shall we? So yeah, no matter what though, I just love the look of the forms of not only Dragon Fire Sonic, but also with Dragon Claw Tails, because these are pretty radical for that particular pre-render. So, anyway, there's also, yes, if you're probably wondering about the fact that, you know, recently that Monster Hunter Rise no longer have the forms of the actual Sonic collab DLC as of right now, because it did technically already happen ever since let's just say, since 3 days ago, potentially speaking. So because of that, it's kind of unfortunate that I missed that out, mainly because I didn't exactly able to actually own myself Monster Hunter Rise, you know, especially concerning for the fact that I'm still basically waiting for not only Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake, but also with Princess Peach Showtime, and eventually Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, so we can finally get a chance to able to do the rest of the entire Luigi's Mansion trilogy, or the series, as of now. Well, the only time we're probably not going to do is the original version of Luigi's Mansion 2, as well as Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS in a remake. Well, that's just mainly because of the actual setup is a bit of a pain for me. So because of that, I'm also give those two versions a pass. So, but that's just me anyway. So, anyway, that pretty much does it for this level. So, I think, something tells me is that in order to able to go all the way to the end of this world, I think we do need to able to find every single populace, as you can see, because otherwise though, I think if you do manage to talk to one of them, I believe it actually gives you a nice little reward, like a 1-up mushroom. So, pretty cool though, especially considering for the fact that I was attempting to try to able to go for an infinite 1-up trick or something, but time will tell, especially considering for the fact that it's probably best if we wait on that for a long while. So, we shall see. Alright, so here we go with this next batch challenge, and this time we're going to be doing some grappling stuff, like grappling vine. So as a result, it does kind of reminds me of the grappling hook, or the grappling beam for both The Legend of Zelda and Metroid, respectively, except we're going to be doing with platforming skills. So because of that, yeah, the grappling vine allows you to able to reach certain places, and you probably name the rest of it though, and you can also perform certain wall jumps while trying to hang on to a wall, so that way you can able to reach certain places with it. So, I will say though, this is actually a really cool badge to use, especially because it does also reminds me of not only The Legend of Zelda, but also with the Metroid games as well, when you try to able to grapple onto stuff, like the grapple beam from Super Metroid, and the grapple hook from the likes of certain Zelda games. So, pretty cool though. So, anyway, there's also another thing I want to discuss upon things, is that recently, we've actually got ourselves the updated DVD releases so far, at least to be more specifically the UK version I was going to be referring to as of now, and those are The Marvels and Wish. And as a result, they are both did somehow confirms the actual release dates for those two films are definitely coming onto not only on DVD, but also on Blu-ray as well. First of all, The Marvels is going to be releasing at some point on the 19th of February, in both on DVD and Blu-ray versions, and I believe this could be also applies for the two movie collection, which obviously that particular collection will feature not only the Marvels, but it's also with the films of Captain Marvel as well. So because of that, I'm not exactly sure if I was expecting to pick that up, mainly because I'm still pretty much have not seen the Marvels just yet, but from what I've heard, it was actually really rough, especially concerning for the fact that after that particular box office bombed, and on top of that, I'm curious to able to check it out, until specifically when that's going to be releasing on Disney+. So, because obviously I don't usually own that much of Marvel physical things, because obviously there are so many of them out there. Especially no matter what though, is that Disney Plus is actually a lot more popular in regards of the forms of not only trying to watch the rest of the Star Wars stuff, but it's also with the forms of some Marvel stuff as well, including the rest of the Simpsons kind of episodes as well. Well, mind you, we actually still on to at this point in time, we're still on the forms of Season 35 at this point. Well, despite the fact that Disney Plus has not able to actually get to release Season 35 just yet. It could probably happen until specifically until, I don't know, October or November sometime. But I suppose time will tell. But anyway. So, as you can see, we actually stumbled across into a level that the entire level just keeps on swaying back and forth while trying to able to actually just to, you know, avoid certain spiky obstacles here and there. So, yeah, that's basically how this level plays out. So, and as for Wish, I believe that particular film did somehow technically confirms the release date for that particular film's release on DVD and Blu-ray as well. I believe that's going to be released until the 25th of March in this year in 2024, usually in Monday essentially. So because of that, that's going to be roughly the exactly the same week as in Kung Fu Panda 4, at least specifically the UK version on the actual cinema screen, will be releasing during that time. So because of that, speaking of Kung Fu Panda 4 though, it did somehow now have been added for the Odeon website recently. So still, I'm very excited for it, despite the fact that we have to wait until 20 days later compared to the films that the American version has to wait until 8th of March, whilst compared to the UK version, for some reason it's 28th of March instead of, I almost assume it's going to be releasing until 29th of March, but oh yeah, that day does say Good Friday on the forms of the 29th of March, at least as far as I'm aware, just because, you know what I'm saying, need to be respectful for, you know, Jesus Christ and stuff like that, because obviously, well, you probably get the idea about the Bible, so. And I think I did somehow mess this up. Yep, I did somehow mess it up. Because I think in that door over there, I believe that is where the Wonder Flower is going to be located. So, yeah, the end of the level is just right there. So, I'm just going to have to take a death right here. Because obviously, I don't know if the actual block thing decides to respawn. But, oh well. I suppose no matter what though, we should probably try this again. So anyways though, yeah, no matter what though, speaking of Wish though, I believe, so far, Wish did almost caught up And as a result, that despite that film was actually the $200 million budget, as a result, I believe Disney's Wish has now crossed $230 million at worldwide box office. So it's getting pretty decent, I guess, despite the fact that most critics seem able to pant that film way too hard, mainly because it did have some high expectations, but as a result, some things do work, other times don't. But I suppose no matter what though, beggars can't be choosers, I guess, in regards to the films that have specific complaints or anything else like that. But I don't know about you. But anyway, let's go after that particular Wonder Flower, just in case before it gets away. And, oh, okay, it just stops there. So, yeah, the Wonder effect on this level, as you can tell, where basically we have to go through those little green slimy stuff. And on top of that, there are some bouncy blocks from time to time. But yeah, you just gotta able to avoid not getting knocked out or just getting knocked back. So, oh jeez, I forgot about that. That just somehow showed up. And of course, we'll grab this Wonder Seed, and I think that pretty much takes care of it from there. So, because I think, fundamentally speaking though, is that with that particular end of a level thing, as we did somehow ignore from earlier, I'm presuming so anyway, I believe that pretty much takes us to the wrong exit as far as I'm aware. Well, I haven't really tested it out for myself, mainly because it's a good thing we did somehow take a life away, because obviously I just wasn't able to do a successful attempt to able to try to find that particular Wonder Flower. So, anyway, so there's our pipe right here, which I think, fundamentally speaking though, it might actually took me way downwards or something like that. So no matter what though, I suppose we're able to talk to this Poplin first, and I believe much like the phones of the previous Poplin, I'm pretty sure it might actually gives us a 1-up. So yeah, nothing else to say about this, I guess. So anyway, there's also another thing I want to mention about this as well. I believe recently that there was actually a Netflix series that's about to be releasing at some point until next month by now, and that's what appears to be by the forms of the live-action series called Avatar: The Last Airbender, where basically that film, or that particular series rather, did somehow already get the actual trailer to show up. So because of that, yeah, nothing else to say about it. Alright, KO Arena, Fungi Funk. Okay. So, we're most able to kick the enemy's butts once again. So, hopefully, we should able to bring an elephant transformation, because I just couldn't help it. Especially, I think, fundamentally speaking though, despite that we did somehow ignored one of the levels coming up, because I think what I'm gonna do is that I'll let Luigi decide able to, like, get a chance to experience that particular level that we have not experienced yet, just for the sake of Luigi's Mansion reference. So, and you probably already know why. So, for now, we'll just go ahead and get rid of those boos, thanks to the forms of that light. So I suppose we can now have the ability to able to defeat boos in a 2D Mario game for the first time. So, pretty cool stuff though, whilst the big boo doesn't count because obviously that was a boss. So, but in terms of the actual boo enemies, they can now able to actually get rid of the actual boos by simply using a light. Ever since in the light block, ever since in Super Mario 3D World, and I believe that could be also applied if you try to use the Starman for certain Mario games for sure. But then again though, it's been a very long while since I actually have last played some 2D Mario games for sure. Because no matter what though, it's about the fact that we still, very hoping to, classify if able to notice some information that's about to be happening for the next couple of days. But then again though, I think we should probably able to save more mentions about the forms of some other aspects until specifically probably until on Friday sometime. Especially no matter what though, it's about the fact that I just, can't believe that January is almost gonna wrapped up until we move on to the next month. So, but yeah, no matter what though, is about the fact that for what I've also noticed is that it looks like certain retail stores have already bring up the forms of the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders. It's actually popped up. but we still have no idea if Nintendo decides able to confirm this announcement just yet. Although, again, time will tell. But anyways, let's go ahead and get our next batch of 10 flower coins, and of course the Wonder Seed to claim, and that's about it basically for that particular KO arena. Nicely done. So of course we've got the next level, which should be another enchanted territory, and what appears to be a final enchanted area, Poison Ruins. Oh jeez. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of tricky situations here and there, but hopefully though we'll try to able to actually conquer this no problem, I guess. So, but either way, we'll activate that particular flower bib thingy, which, kind of think about it though, it almost reminds me of the forms of specific switches to activate until you get some progression. So, oh yeah, something's worth noting for as well. Recently, a friend of ours, Cap King 74, in some cases Stuart, he did somehow message me on my phone, and as a result, he did send me about the fact that he recently tried out a Pac-Man game, which as a result, thanks to the forms of the actual Steam version of Pac-Man World Repack, did somehow manage to get ourselves the actual discount price, and as a result, he did somehow manage to play Pac-Man World Repack, and that was actually considered this to be the first ever Pac-Man World game he's ever tried, which as a result, thanks to the forms of the discount price, so no matter what though, for what I've heard, he actually really enjoyed it so far, especially considering for the fact that despite it's actually overall a tad easier compared to the forms of how it does in the original version on the PlayStation, but for what it's worth though is about the fact that I fully appreciate that he did somehow try out a Pac-Man World game for the first time of his entire experience, especially considering for the fact that he's still able to actually classify for able to notice that he did have a great time with it, so, which I'm very pleased about, especially considering for the fact that God knows if he might try out Pac-Man World 2 at some point, if either the remake is going to be releasing or announced sometime, because I know for the fact that it's been almost 2 years ago since when Pac-Man World Repack has been first announced back then, so thanks to that, you know, partner showcase back in 2022. In fact, kind of thinking about it, it's been like almost 2 years ago since when that particular partner showcase direct has been announced back in during forms of sometime in summer 2022, and ever since then that we have not heard about that particular direct style since then, because, well, despite the fact that I still classify for saying that the 2022 one for the partner showcase is definitely a lot better than the forms of how it does it for the majority of the 2020 selection, just because you know what. So, I can appreciate for the fact that, well, you know, he did have an enjoyable time with that particular game as a remake, so. But anyways, let's go ahead and try to able to continue climbing up, because no matter what though, the poison itself decides to rise, so. But we have to be quick about it, because otherwise, if we dare touch the poison, then we will die instantly, so. But for the most part, I think Fungi Mines is actually not too difficult as a world itself. Sometimes it can be tricky in some sections, but I will say is that about the fact that this stage is pretty easy to me. So I believe once again we'll turn into this little weird gooby slime thingy right there. So just to ensure we can able to just scale up some walls and or stick up to any walls. And ignore that flagpole, by the way, because that is actually a fake goal. So no matter what though, we'll take an alternative path. So that way, not only we can able to activate certain things here, and also, if I was assuming correctly, there's going to be some even more 10 flower coins that we can able to obviously obtain. So, oh jeez, that was close. I'm almost going to be dying there, because again, if I touch the poison, then after we do this entire section again. However, you don't want to get crushed on this part, because if you dare get crushed, you also die instantly, for what I've noticed anyway, so. But thankfully though, well, as far as I'm aware, this particular stage is kind of lengthy too. Well, I suppose no matter what though, we'll just, oh god, that was close. So, again, I would have liked to explain something else, but then again, though, I think at this point in time, we've almost finishing up everything for Fungi Mines. But again, I was expecting to try to able to complete everything on this world in this particular one part, but because of how lengthy this world can be sometimes, just like any other worlds in this game so far, I believe it'll just go be like 2 recording sessions for the most part. So it looks like we're not able to go for this little circular platforms, because it looks like we're about to try to able to activate those flower switches, as far as I'm concerned, which not only it can able to actually summon some more flower coins to collect if you so much more of a desire, but if I recall, it actually disintegrates the actual the lava thing in the center. So because obviously if you dare touch the lava, you die instantly, so you have to be very cautious with that. So, and it might look like we do need to activate the last one, at least as far as I could recall that. So, and I believe that somehow disintegrates the lava thing, which pretty much turns into the Wonder Seed itself. So, pretty swell, I might add. But, yeah, like I said before, that's as far as I can just you know, discuss upon at this point today. Although, I might try to go back onto one of the levels eventually as Mario, because technically speaking, though, we are missing one of those 10 flower coins so far in one of the levels in this world. Well, that's just mainly because we did somehow choose Yoshi, and as a result, Yoshi cannot be able to, you know, access to the power-ups as be expected at this point. So, although we can't able to actually finish the entire world up, but then again, we'll save that until for the next video, because no matter what though, I almost assume we can able to try to pull this off, but unfortunately though, that's not the case. So, anyway, so once again, we're able to get ourselves our glorious 1-up mushroom, so thank you, Poplin, right here. So, I suppose we should probably able to take care of the forms of trying to able to find, you know, the 10 flower coins somewhere. I think it's one of those levels that, in a Wonder Effect, it does manage to trigger a quiz trivia game. So, and I believe in one of those levels in particular I was referring to is, well, first of all, let me go ahead and buy some more standees, just in case if we don't come across into any duplicates like this one. And it's already not looking that great, but at least we got some new ones, like Elephant Luigi standee. And, yeah, this might take a bit while. Oh, we got ourselves Drill Yellow Toad standee, so that's, pretty cool stuff. And I'm pretty sure we've almost done with the forms of, not only for Mario, but also with the forms of, oh wow, we somehow got light blue Yoshi on the cloud. Okay then. Pretty cool though. Oh, nice. I like the sound of that, especially considering for a fact I'm pretty sure we've almost done buying any other standees at this point. Although keep this in mind though, oh, we've got one more standee left for Luigi. Oh man, we're getting pretty close up to this point. So, I'm afraid to tell you for this point, guys, we've run out of time, so we're going to ending stuff at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch, is that we're able to finish up everything for the sake of the forms of Fungi Mines. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be thinking about. So I'll see you guys until on Friday. Later, fellas.